Past the creaky metal gates, through the fog-enveloped graveyard, you find yourself on the rickety old porch of a long-forgotten home. Beyond the threshold sits a man obsessed, a tortured soul, cursed to discover all about the Southern California haunt community and beyond. You have now entered the domain of the CreepCast with Rick Creeper. You're listening to the CreepCast.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. This is episode 34. Today we are joined by a gentleman named by Jerry Paxton, a true multi-talented person across the haunt, attraction, and gaming space. Jerry is a veteran special effects makeup artist who has been bringing monsters to life in Knott Scary Farm since 1998. Some of you haven't been alive that long, so that's pretty scary. Or not only, what am I trying to say here? He's not only behind the makeup chair creating monsters, also he serves as the editor-in-chief of GamingShogun.com. Is that correct? Alrighty. Where he creates the mastermind. He is also the creative and mastermind behind Level Up Thrills. We're absolutely excited to have this man here. Jerry, how are we doing?
I'm doing great, Rick. Thank you so much for having me on this podcast.
So 1998, huh?
Yeah, you were right. A lot of people listening to this were probably not born yet.
How did you end up at Scary Farm, and how was your very first season there? Like, did you have experience prior? Was it something you went to school for, or you just jumped in head first? And how was your first year there, and how did you end up there?
So I grew up over in Riverside, and as a kid, Halloween was always just a huge holiday for us. It was always Halloween and Christmas. And so we would go trick-or-treating, all this stuff. I started watching horror movies and got interested in special makeup effects by those horror movies. I watched movies I probably shouldn't have watched at an early age. The Stuff, Dawn of the Dead,
right.
Halloween, all of these movies that kind of shaped my formative years. And so I was interested in the makeup and how that all worked. So I started following the makeup artists' careers and stuff like that, doing Halloween makeup on my own. And, one thing led to another. And before you know it, I was doing makeup for like high school haunted houses, stuff like that. Went to Cal State Fullerton for a short stint. And while I was there, Abel Zabayos, who used to run the makeup at Haunt, who had since passed it on to Melanie Smith, he was still being a professor at Cal State Fullerton.
And what year are we talking about?
Oh, gosh. Probably 97 to 98. Because my first haunt was in 98, and that's when I took the makeup course. I also found out I was deathly claustrophobic when they tried to do a life cast of my head.
I've had offers. I can't do it, no.
It's cold, it's wet, and you can't escape it. It is in every part of your face.
You mentioned a makeup course. Was this at Cal State Fullerton?
Yeah, Cal State Fullerton has a theatrical makeup course.
Okay.
And in the pro course, I had to do the life cast. Horribly claustrophobic. But, I kind of got through it, and my project went good. So when Haunt needed new makeup artists, they would go to Abel. And Abel said, Jerry, you are a couple of artists that we have here in the class that I'd like to recommend. So he recommended me, and before you know it, 98, I'm working Haunt.
How long normally does it take to do a live cast?
Oh, normally it depends. Well, so it could depend on the alginate, the modeling material. It could depend on, how cold it is in the room, the humidity in the room. Probably 20, 30 minutes tops for the full thing just to get the alginate off of your head. And then from that point, you have to put plaster or some other medium. They're using silicone and resin now.
Okay.
It's gone very high tech. But after that, you're free. But for those 20 minutes or so, you're a prisoner.
So you're looking about 20, 30 minute range.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've had offers. When I did my first facial prosthetic, just facial prosthetic, and we're talking what? That's silicone or that's latex?
Oh, well, so if it's a facial prosthetic, it could be foam latex or it could be silicone, depending on the need.
I don't remember. This was just for a cosplay for Midsummer. I had slight levels of claustrophobia, being claustrophobic just when wearing it, and I had to mellow out. And so again, I've done quarter pieces, half pieces, but a full face last year, that was my first time for an entire run. You mentioned some of the horror movies in the 80s. Were you were you aware of some of the makeup artists like a Rick Baker or like Salvini?
So yeah, for me, my two favorite artists, the people that I really followed, was Dick Smith, who's like the grandfather of special makeup effects in terms of like modern special makeup effects. Did the effects for The Exorcist, Amadeus, a bunch of other Altered States, and so I bought his VHS tape, Monster Makeup, and I still have it on YouTube. And whenever I'm feeling nostalgic, I'll throw it on because he has tips in this tape where he pulls a neighborhood kid in and just does makeup on him.
Interesting.
It's fantastic. And then the other one is Tom Savini. And he had, because Tom likes to talk about himself a whole lot, and it's good for us because we like to listen. So he put out this tape called Screen Greats Volume 2.
Okay.
And it was basically an interview with Tom Savini where he walked you around his hometown and he kind of walked you through his various effects from his movies, different anecdotes. It made me fall in love with special makeup effects. So Cal State Fullerton comes around. I get the job at Haunt. And part of the thing that happens at Cal State Fullerton is I get to go tour a makeup studio in L.A., Michael Burnett Studios. I talk to some of the makeup techs, and I find out that every single one of them essentially is fighting paycheck to paycheck.
Okay.
They are hustling. They are trying to make the best of it. None of them are on set really like Tom Savini was in those videos or Dick Smith was in the videos that I would watch as a kid.
Okay.
So I realized that unless you have to be a very special person to do that job, and I give everybody who does it professionally in Hollywood so much respect because they're out there every day hustling. I needed something a little more stable, which is why I turned to more towards technology. And so the special makeup effects are what I do as essentially in more of a hobby kind of capacity, and I enjoy it for what it is. But then I do more IT focused stuff on a day to day just to pay the bills.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a tough job.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. There was American Werewolf in London, which I believe was Rick Baker.
Yes.
And then The Howling, which was filmed another werewolf movie around the same time. That was Salvini, right?
So
I believe they're within a year or two of their creation, and the two were, one was on one set doing special effects and prosthetics, and the other one was on another set, I believe.
So Savini was,
I believe he did The Howling.
Oh gosh,
if I'm not mistaken. Then Rick Baker was on American Werewolf in London with John Landis.
I don't remember if Savini did. They're going to take away my makeup card. I don't remember.
I might be wrong.
We can look it up.
Okay. So, a little cool factoid I learned about Lon Chaney Sr. He would show up with his own makeup, like a makeup kit, on set for casting calls. And if he would see like the casting call sheet at Universal, whatever, and he's like, "We need someone that looks like this, or we need someone to look like that." Apparently, he would do his own makeup to get the role. I don't know how much his own input was involved with each role he played, like official, Phantom of the Opera, and then he did London After Midnight, which is a lost film. But apparently he did a lot of his own makeup on set, and he was performing, not only a performer, but somehow he learned to do makeup as well. I had someone previously on here who was Noel Jason Scott, and he mentioned that to me, and lots of times he does these B-roll, kind of casting calls, and he does his own makeup on set, like short films or kind of B-rolls. Yeah. But I thought that was pretty cool because I've always liked the Wolfman. Of course, that's Lon Chaney, Jr. But apparently his dad was doing his own makeup on and off set, which I thought was pretty cool.
It's funny you mentioned Lon Chaney because Tom Savini often references Lon Chaney Sr. as his inspiration for wanting to get into makeup. They called him the man of 1,000 faces.
Yes.
He would literally, because the technology was not where it is in more modern times, he would put model wire circles, and he would put them into his eye sockets to expand his eye sockets and change the way his face looks, and then he would put putty over it to cover it up. Like some of his looks as the Phantom or in London After Midnight, his eyes are really wide. He's actually got little paperclip style wire that he's fashioned into these circles to expand his eye sockets. Madman, but super talented. When we went to I forget what horror convention it was, but it was a couple of years ago. They had one of Lon Chaney's makeup kits in the museum area at the front, and it was fantastic to see all of his little compartments and stuff.
Probably
like
a lot of grease paints, maybe some putty. I mean,
it's probably all bad now, but, but it's still, that stuff doesn't last forever. But yeah, it was pretty fantastic. So yeah, so he was a huge influence, especially on Tom Savini.
Okay.
And Tom Savini was a huge influence on me, so it's funny how that all kind of flows down.
And we're talking what? This is during the silent era of Universal.
Oh, yeah.
And which a lot of people don't know. Universal Studios, or Universal, I guess it's production, they created the horror movie genre, which was created here. So everything that's out now, I mean, even going through throughout the decades, but classic horror, even though some of the stories came from Europe or from our authors that came from other countries, as far as film, horror was created here at Universal Studios. And a lot of people don't know that, but the films like, you got Bride of Frankenstein, Frankenstein's Monster, and Dracula. Yeah,
Dracula.
Which classic. Dracula had no score. It was just, I seen it at the Frida, and so, I'm going on a tangent. They did I guess, they did 3 movies back to back. Excuse me. It was Dracula, then they did Frankenstein, and then the Bride of Frankenstein. Excuse me. But the original Dracula film had no score. It was just poppy and gritty, and they decided somehow, for some reason, on Frankenstein actually add a score to it. So,
that's cool. So I haven't seen it in live, but I know that every once in a while the Seegersturm will do Nosferatu, and Nosferatu also didn't really have a score. It was always played in concert with the movie because it's a silent film essentially. So they do a live orchestration of Nosferatu, and it always seemed like a really cool thing to do during the haunt season. I've never done it, but
I've always wanted to do that, which is not too far from here. I did see Beetlejuice, and they had a 3-piece quartet play the soundtrack prior to the movie coming on, which I thought was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
So, so I'm looking here. You have over 2 decades of experience. What are the biggest changes that you've seen throughout the years when it came to makeup versus when you started? Like, for example, like materials, airbrushing, tech, so forth.
I think that when it comes down to it, makeup is about illusion. It's about magic. It's doing tricks to make people think they're seeing something when you're actually not. It's the tools that have gotten more modern. I mentioned being claustrophobic when I got live cast. You don't really need to get live cast these days because you can take a scan of your face. They can 3D print your face.
Exactly.
And alginate never needs to touch your face. It's just another tool in the arsenal. So it's really about the tools, I think. I mean, obviously the rise of computer-generated effects and stuff like that also, has changed the landscape. So it's a whole new ballgame out there.
So what were some of the things that you used, like, let's say, your first couple of years at Scary Farm comparison to last season?
So the funny thing, we didn't actually talk about my first season at Haunt in the last question, but it's part of it. So my first season of Haunt, I'm sweating bullets because I just came out of Cal State Fullerton. I'm assuming that everybody at Halloween Haunt is a professional makeup artist who's in the industry. So a lot of pressure is on me to want to perform and make it good. So my first makeup, I was given a prosthetic. I was in Warehouse P, close to where we do makeup now, actually. And I'm doing a vampire bride. And it's this foam latex piece it's like a skull face with this like cross in the forehead. And we don't have airbrushes at the time. We're using normal paintbrushes. So I start painting on cream makeup onto this face. It was our grease paint. I think it was. No, it was cream. That's right. Cream makeup on this face because it's what I had. So I'm painting this, and the pieces of the foam latex are falling off, and I'm pulling them off, and I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. I literally had to change my shirt after this because I was so just stressed out.
Shirtless doing makeup.
Wow. Yeah. And come to find out, you have to actually mix the cream makeup with an oil base, a castor oil base. It's what grease makeup is. It's this cream added with an oil, a grease.
I didn't know that.
In order to get it to glide onto a foam latex prosthetic.
Was it eaten away at the foam latex?
Literally, it was me applying pressure to the foam latex and it not adhering and it just pulling. It was not smooth, so it was just pulling pieces off. So my first couple prosthetics were just like, they didn't even resemble the piece that they were supposed to.
No
Finally,
pressure.
Melanie Smith told me, "Are you using your oil?" in the cream? And I said, no. And so I learned you have to mix it. Now, we don't really have time to paint by hand much. It's all kind of switched over to be a little more about quantity.
Okay.
And we try to keep the quality as high as we can, but it's about pushing as many people as we can through in the 20-minute slots that we have to paint them. When I first started, we had like 35 minutes per person, and it was there was a little more breathing room. So now you have to be a little bit more on your game in terms of you have to just keep moving. No matter if the piece is falling apart on you or if it's just not working, you just have to keep moving because you can always do a different makeup tomorrow night.
True.
So it's a different game now. With the airbrushes, it has changed a lot of how we paint and the speed in which we can paint, but it also presents its own set of challenges. I noticed that a lot of people who just rely solely on their airbrush, their makeup has a very blended look. And Haunt isn't a professional like cinema production. All makeup at Haunt needs to be theatrical.
Yes.
Meaning high contrast, because you're seeing somebody in the dark for maybe
seconds.
Yeah, as
Seconds
they
at a
whoosh
time.
by you.
Exactly.
And so it's different. So you have to paint more for that high contrast. And if you look at some of the makeup that we do at Haunt, it probably wouldn't pass muster on a film set because it's just too harsh. But it needs to be by design. So by necessity, I should say.
Yeah.
So the airbrush helps a lot with that because it's quick. But the trick is then you have to go back in with your hand brush and you have to paint in contrasting lines.
Some of the finer details.
For sure, because otherwise it just blurs out there.
Okay.
And the lighting at Haunt can be tricky sometimes because they don't always coordinate with makeup on making sure that characters are highlighted like they used to. So they'll put in like blue floods everywhere. And all of a sudden any makeup that you painted blue now just looks like they're not wearing makeup.
I noticed that some of the artists would, for example, the prosthetics, they would have like, I guess, the base or the foundation taken care of in advance to save time. And then once they applied it to the actor or the scare actor, then they'd go back with further details or even pull out the brushes and do that as well. Am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So it became a necessity to have the piece pre-painted as much as possible.
Got it.
Just because we only have 20 minutes, so it's fast. So if you have your piece pre-painted, you can glue it on, which gluing a prosthetic on somebody's face can be very tricky because not all skin is created equal.
Right.
I have had some people whose face just will not adhere with Prosade or Prosade, depending on how you want to say it. It just won't. No matter how many times you put it on, no matter how dry and tacky you get the Prosade before you put it on, it just won't do it. You have to switch over to a different adhesive, medical adhesive. And some people, it just sticks like glue and just a little drop. They have to take adhesive remover at the end of the night. So, pre-paint, long story short, pre-paint the piece as much as you can so that you just have to worry about applying and blending.
As far as applying, my makeup artist was Nicole Maroney. And she's
fantastic.
She's been around for some, and we've been friends for quite some time now. So like coincidentally, I ended up in her chair. She glued that clown prosthetic on. It was never coming off. But I appreciated it because I felt secure. I was so concerned. I'm like, I've never done a full face. I sweat a lot. I normally have a beard. Is this thing going to stay on? It was a part of me. Like it became a part of my like facial anatomy. But and again, everyone works different. Whenever I had a sub, they might have been a little light on the adhesive. So there was times where you saw my lower jaw come undone, or at the end of the night, I was able to actually, and I don't recommend you guys do this, monsters, I was able to take off my own prosthetic gently.
Yes. From the makeup department, do not take off your own prosthetic.
Let's say it fell off on its own. But I was concerned because I'm like, I've never done this, and it's a glue. No, I had no skin issues, nothing whatsoever. Thank God my girlfriend works in the beauty industry because she's like, hey, use this to wash your face and to hydrate. Well, thank you. But I did notice that she had the base or foundation already taken care of, and then she came back with fine details, more airbrushing, and then she pulled out. I'm assuming it's not grease paint. It's, I don't know what kind of.
It's probably a cream base at this point, but because grease paint was mainly to cover up prosthetics. Like if you don't really have to paint too much on the prosthetic and you're just painting the detail lines on the face, you can do a cream makeup.
I know some of the artists who use stencils.
Yeah.
Again,
it just saves them time.
Yeah,
like I try to avoid it. It's not that they're bad or anything, but I really like the creative process and what I can come up with when I'm painting a face. So I try to avoid it, but we've all used stencils at times just to cover some texture in some places.
So you're pretty much, what works for you works for you.
Yeah.
Maybe the stencils is not your thing. Maybe some people prefer
for sure.
A certain type of airbrush. Maybe some people are too dominant with an airbrush, and if it goes down, what are you going to do? So right. Everyone's different.
Yeah, because when we started, it's an interesting skill because I don't know. I mean, when I started, there were no airbrushes, so you had to hand paint everything, and that's the foundation on a face, especially a 2D face that wasn't a prosthetic.
Yeah,
having to like put a sponge and apply foundation to a face takes time. It just takes time. So 20 minutes is not a lot of time, but those airbrushes do help a lot.
So, but also becomes kind of rhythmic and systematic over time. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, I know this because this prosthetic might look good on this person,
right?
But over here, it's completely. For example, the one I use, they try to use it on someone in a previous season, and the face looked too large on them.
Yeah.
So they put it on my big giant watermelon head, so it worked fine. But I mean, everyone's face is different. Maybe makeup applies different. So I totally get it.
Yeah, there was a time when they used to cast and sculpt faces for specific people, and they would have like the talent that was going to wear the piece come in on the off season.
Okay,
sculpt, cast, sculpt their face, the whole bit. And then they would wear that piece during fall. But, it's so hard to do that with budgets and everything else. You can't have custom faces. So you try to do it to where you, like, cast sculpt the piece for, like, blanks and stuff of, like, various sizes.
Got it.
And so it's not going to be an exact fit, but because it's foam, you can kind of get it to adhere where you need it to.
Okay. I was a little concerned with the face. Once I saw it, I'm like, is this going to fit? And it fit like a glove on me.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
I was like, cool. I mean, I loved it. I mean, what was your opinion of the face, of my face?
I thought it was cool. About the glue. So oftentimes less is more when it comes to glue. But like I said, some people's faces just need more glue. Mm-hmm. And one of the nice things about having a piece like that adhered to your face very tightly is that you can emote.
Yeah.
When you make a face, your face is making the face.
That's what I love. You saw if I made an expression, you saw it through the prosthetic.
Right. There's times when you don't use enough and it just looks like a flat, like a Botox face, like nothing's moving. There's no emotion. So in some ways that's good. The other side of that is if you do too much, like some people have skin reactions. Yeah. Some people just, it hurts them when they take it off at the end of the night. So yeah, it's a situational thing, but when it works, it's fantastic.
The amount of adhesive that Nicole applied, it worked perfect because it just felt like it was a part of me. And then I saw some photos of me, and you could see I saw Rick smiling through the clown. Like you saw my expression. I mean, because I know it's my face, and like,
right.
Obviously, I was laughing about something, maybe something goofy I said or scared someone, but I was like, okay, that's my smile. I see my smile through. I saw my eyebrows expression, my eyes. Right. So I was like, okay, so it's very animated, which I liked. Yeah,
for sure. And that's super helpful out there. Some people have gone and bought masks for their characters because they couldn't get the makeup spot. I'm sure there are many reasons. Some people have had like silicone masks made, and slip cast latex masks made. They all have their benefits. Silicone is definitely a lot better for this, but when you get like a slip cast latex mask, it often doesn't move very much. So,
like, what exactly is a slip mask?
So it's like when you go to the Halloween store and you buy a mask. Usually it's like that rubber mask latex, and they call it a slip latex because you're basically pouring liquid latex into a mold, and you're moving the mold around to where it forms a layer, and then you pour another layer and another layer. But because of that, it doesn't really move because it's not really attached to your face. Silicone is much better. The people who have gone and made silicone masks, it adheres so tightly to your skin, it's like a second skin. But latex doesn't move as well. But yeah, foam latex, fantastic.
There was some talent that had, I believe their prosthetic was a two-piece, like the lower part of the jaw was separate.
Yeah.
From the cheekbones up. I love that because the fact that it wasn't just like a frozen face. The character was animated. They could speak.
That's really nice.
And it looked lifelike. There was two particular. You did one, which was Rachel's makeup.
Yeah.
I loved her piece. And then Matt Barrera, he was, I think like an outlaw, like a gunfighter. And his lower piece was separate from the rest of his face. And he had his foundation was all blacked out. I love that because you could see the character speak or, make noise or whatever. It wasn't just like a frozen face like a mask. I do like some of the masks. I personally, I've worn a mask once for like a short, like 3-weekend gig. Wasn't my favorite. I see why some people prefer they do eye black, and at the end of the night they could just take off the mask and go. I might be somewhat of a makeup diva. I don't know. I've been spoiled with 2D, But it was nice to have a prosthetic that hid my face. But I do love, like, if I were to do something different, or if I was, given the opportunity, if it were to do like a 2-piece prosthetic. Is that pretty common?
It depends on the character.
Okay.
It depends on again, because we're not generally casting a lot of new pieces for like individual characters, they have to be a little more multi-use.
Okay.
It just kind of depends. It's very situational. There are some faces that are just too small for an actor, for a talent out there. And so what we have to do is we clear it with our supervisor, but we have to kind of cut the chin out.
Okay.
And we make it a 2-piece face because it's the only way they're going to be able to emote.
That makes sense.
There are definitely some people I've had in my chair where I've had to do that with their faces are just too big, and it actually works out because I like it when they can talk.
It looks animated. It looks really, really cool.
Yeah, and then some are, some maybe don't speak a lot. It doesn't really matter, but if you have that option, I think it's always better. Apparently,
my face was used in the past, and the person that wore it saw my face, and there's like a Knott's Facebook fan page.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, it's good to see my old face out there." And I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, okay, this is probably like an old school like Carnival character from years ago, and they had this face still, and they threw it on me. So I thought that was kind of cool.
That's pretty neat. At one point, I'm sure that we may still do it. I don't know with Six Flags how that all works, but at one point, Knott's was supplying foam latex faces for other Cedar Fair at the time.
Oh wow!
So I sculpted a face for Spaz and one for Heckler back in the day, if you know the haunt names. If not, I won't add them, real names. But they ended up seeing their faces at like Great America or
that's
something
cool.
like that.
That's kind of
totally different.
It's kind of weird, but that's kind of cool at the same time. Okay,
right. And so I don't know if we still do that, but it was kind of interesting.
I wasn't aware that Knott's was strictly making everything for all the other parks. I had no idea.
Yeah, and they were at one point, at least in the Cedar Fair years.
Okay. All right. People don't realize how intense haunt can be sometimes. What does your typical night look like when you're in front of the makeup chair over at the peak season at Knott's?
It is semi-controlled nuclear fusion. It is craziness, and one of the reasons for that is obviously we have 20 minutes a person, so everything has to be like boom, 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 boom. We have to get everything done. We only have about 10 minutes before the first person walks in to get our stations ready to go, to have our little pre-team like briefing for the night, and to say hi to our friends and just kind of have a couple of minutes to chat. And then as the night goes on, it is just makeup after makeup after makeup. You have to fit in cleaning your materials in between. It's chaos, and we do it every year, and it works out. But it's just one of those things where new artists will come in. They look at what their schedule is and how many people they have to do, and they oftentimes have kind of a panic moment because they don't know how they're going to be able to do these people in 20 minutes.
But it just happens somehow.
I always tell them, keep breathing. Don't stop breathing. Don't hold your breath. And just keep going.
Just keep going. I mean, because I speak from experience being in the chair. Sometimes the makeup looks one way one night, and then next night, and then maybe like the first couple weeks, it's like, okay, it's not the look we want, but it's getting there.
Yeah.
And I say by maybe mid-season, you're like, this is the look. Oh, let's try this different. Let's try that. And I'm like, okay, and I get it because like you have 20 minutes. You have either a 2D or prosthetic. You have this, that, and the other. Not only you're dealing with your work, but you have to deal with the different personalities sitting in that chair.
Sure.
I totally get it. That's why I sit there and my makeup time's always been 5 p.m. I sit there and wait. I'm like, okay, they got a lot to do. They're in their meeting. I'll wait till they see me and they call me over. I will not walk in. I'm like, I'm not walking in there. I will patiently wait.
Yeah, it's what I like is when the talent has experience and they're a willing participant in the collaboration between the makeup artist and the talent. They don't come in thinking they are, the end-all, be-all talent on the street and they need their makeup an exact certain way. They don't come in not knowing anything. The makeup artist is open to being a part of that collaboration and taking what the talent likes into account. I think that when that engine works, you create some really cool characters, and it just works for everybody. The talent feels good about themselves when they go out on the street. The makeup artist feels good about what they do. I think that's the optimal. It doesn't always work out that way. There are plenty of haunt stories over the years about, how things have fallen apart. And they talent did this, makeup artist did this, whatever. But when it works, it's fantastic.
That's funny you say that because my next question is related to that. when you guys are transforming the actors into monsters, how much of the character comes out from your vision versus what the actor's input is, and also based on what the makeup's supposed to look like?
Yeah. So when we do our orientation days as artists, we get a kind of a general idea, theme for each area and each kind of character and what they should kind of look like. It's normally, unless it's what they call an icon character,
it's a face character pretty much.
Yeah. It generally has a lot of leeway in terms of how we can paint it.
Got it.
And that one thing about that is I love it because it's just super creative. Like if you're one of those people that doesn't need to have every single thing like pre-laid out for you, and you enjoy that, it's great because you can just create all these cool things every night, and they can change. You can change them. Obviously, the icon characters have to kind of look a more certain way, but I like to, as long as it's an open collaboration, I like to involve the talent in my chair as much as possible. Because it makes it more fun for me, because they may be like, hey, I was thinking about this. Could you try this? It makes it a challenge for me. Like, maybe I can do that. Like, let's see if it's possible. And it makes it better for them, because if it works out, great. And if not, maybe we try something different the next night, as long as it's not a copyrighted character.
Exactly.
Because, oh gosh, back in the day, back in the late 90s and early 2000s, we had a lot of characters that we probably shouldn't have had out there. Like Freddy Krueger was in the hanging. Jason was in the hanging at one point. As speaking, not like lampooned characters. Like, they get, like as the main character, Freddy Krueger would come.
It wasn't like a parody, like a Temu version of Freddy. It was supposed to be Freddy.
It was Freddy.
And you're like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was great. Looking back when I went to haunt as a kid, I always looked forward to Freddy and the Hanging. Like right. it worked for me, as somebody who went there. And then there were a couple of characters that went out as there was like a Spawn character for quite some time out on the street.
Wow.
In the same kind of facial patterns and stuff. And so they've pulled back on all that stuff. So it can't be some copyrighted thing, but the creativity is pretty amazing. And I think that's one of the things that Haunt has over other parks that maybe have bigger budgets for the year, is that we get a lot more creativity in what we do.
I noticed that because Knott's, it's very creative. There's I guess broader brushstrokes compared to nothing against the other parks or the haunts where it's like, hey, you're clown number 2, you're so-and-so number 3, this is how you look, this is your mask, which I get because it's a certain aesthetic and they have to create a standard. What I love about working at Scary Farm, there's leeway. Like, hey, what do you think of this? And if it gets approved, cool. If it doesn't, okay, no problem. Or there's a collaboration between yourself, your makeup artist, maybe the makeup supervisor, manager, or hey, what do you try this? For example, when I was in Goring, I was like, hey, how do you feel about like painting my eyebrows and giving me kind of a menacing arch? And they're like, yeah. So it's very like animated, Dick Tracy-esque. And then, hey, I shaved and left the mustache with a slight handlebar mustache, which was somewhat period accurate. How do you feel about blacking it out? They're sure. Then they started painting veins on my face, which was supposed to be like the devil's elixir traveling through my body, and then they bloodied up my knuckles. So this was somewhat like a collaboration with the makeup artist, with approval, of course. And that's what I liked. I'm like, I'm not demanding it. It's just a suggestion. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
I think the first time you and I actually met, I was subbing for the artist, and I think you'd asked me to black out your mustache.
Yeah.
I was there.
That was the first time we met. I'm like, who's this guy? You're like, hey, and you did my makeup. I'm like, oh, okay, he actually did a really good job. But that was the first time we met before we became friends. But
yeah. Because the mustache, I remember you asking me to black out your mustache, and I think it actually need it. It needed that contrast. I think that worked really well.
Plus, I had some gray hairs in there I wanted to cover. So
likewise.
Alrighty. Out of all the years you've created monsters and brought them to life, what are some of the most memorable ones, or you have, or like you're proud of, like throughout the years? So
earlier on, when we had a lot of prosthetics that were larger, and there were actually just a lot more of them in general. I don't know if any of those would be what I'd be like super proud of. And the reason being is it's not that I wasn't proud of the work or I didn't enjoy it or like the outcome. But moving to, I always thought, I want to do prosthetics. And then doing 2D hand-painted makeups, I think has given me a lot more creativity, especially since I came back. Because I did Haunt from 98 to 2011 or
Jeez,
2012.
that's a long run.
And then I took like 9 or 10 years off, and I came back, I want to say in 2020, something like that.
Okay.
2021, I forget when it was. But there was a time where I took off stuff. So kind of pre-break, I noticed that it was a lot of things were handled in a certain way. When I came back, things were much faster. Since I came back, I wasn't sure how I would do with doing so many hand-painted 20-minute makeups, but they've actually kind of become my favorite over the prosthetics because I can sit there after shift, or while I'm still on the clock, but after the makeup part's over, and I can pre-paint prosthetics, and I like how they turn out. But there's something about being on the makeup floor in Warehouse P, and the activity is intense. Everyone is just doing their makeups. You have 20 minutes. People are coming in and out. Airbrush paint is flying, and you have to hand paint a whole face, a whole character, and you have to create that in 20 minutes. That, I think, is what I'm most enjoying these days.
Okay.
I did the Oil Baron in Ghost Town, his face last year. He kind of was dropped into my stack midway through the season. Maybe it was kind of unexpected, but I didn't know anything about the character, but there was a pretty good collaboration with me and the talent in the chair, and we created this really cool 2D character out there on the street.
I loved it, by the way. That makeup was really, really beautiful.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It was great. Every night it was awesome to paint. And it kind of goes like that. There are so many examples, especially when I was subbing before I came back full time in the last couple of years. It just the creativity and just the variety. Like, you come in and it's like you're making a werewolf. Okay, how am I going to paint a werewolf?
You're like, okay, so yeah.
But then you do it, and you're like, this is awesome. And my wife, I send her all these pictures, and I come home sometimes and I'm like, oh gosh, I threw a lot of grapefruits out there tonight. It wasn't very good. And she's like, oh, all your makeups look great. And I'm like, I only sent you the ones I like.
Jeez.
I didn't take pictures of the ones I didn't like.
So you feel like the ones are most challenging or your most memorable, or the ones you're most creative, like those are probably your most memorable or ones you're proud of?
Yeah, I think so. I think those 2D makeups, especially more recently, because before I did a lot of prosthetics in 35 to 40 minutes because we had a lot of time.
Yeah.
But, and they looked fine. They looked good when they went out. But the 2D makeups that I've had to do in the last 5 years that I've come back have been much more enjoyable for me and stuff I'm more proud of.
Why do you think is that? Do you feel that you're too harsh on yourself, or you've got accustomed to doing things a certain way? Or I'm thinking what it is you kind of maybe you've adapted and improvised, or what is it? What makes you feel like that?
So I think there's two things that go on there. One is I think that it's the adaptation and the improvisation, and the short time you have to do it. And the other thing is, having taken a pretty lengthy break from Haunt, I realized how much when I came back, how much I enjoyed doing it. Okay. And Haunt is notorious for drama in a lot of ways, right? Obviously.
No, not at all.
Yeah, right. When I look at Haunt, how weird is it? And I say weird. How interesting is it that in this world of ours, how many people can say that they have worked at Not Scary Farm, say, and that they got to do makeup at Not Scary Farm?
True.
When you look at the billions upon billions of people who have lived and died on this planet.
True.
The amount of people who get this opportunity in their short lives.
Small fraction.
So small. It is such a special thing that we get to do. And that, for being a talent, from being an artist, whatever it is, it's a crazy thing that we all dress up as monsters and try to scare one another or make someone into monsters every Halloween season. It is so special. And there are some people I see who throw these opportunities away, and they do things to get fired. They do things to get in trouble. Things that and I think it's because they're a little more maybe immature. They don't realize the gravity of what they're doing. This is a special thing that we get to do, and we have to appreciate it for what it is and enjoy it. So coming back, I think instead of looking at it like the kid who was 18 years old who was sweating his hairballs, like tearing faces up, I came in as someone who appreciates it a little more and it relishes that challenge.
You couldn't be 100% more correct. It's just, there's a reason why we're there. We're not there for the money. We're there for a creative outlets. Either you're a makeup artist, you're a builder, or storyboarder, or you're talent. We're giving up a lot of our free time because a lot of us work, full-time jobs and do this, and you're running on no sleep. You're tired. I feel for the artists and management, because you're dealing with so many different personalities. Me, it's like once I get there and I get my suit of armor on, I go out there, I do me, I know what I got to, I clock in, I clock out, I go home. Yes, I have fun. I do things I'm probably not 100% supposed to do probably, but it is what it is. I do my job, I go home. And some people get so wrapped up in, the finger pointing and issues, or they don't know how to separate. I understand everyone has days, but learn to separate. We're here to have fun. Right. I mean, I had my moments, but it's like, this is an outlet. It's an amazing event that's been around for a long time. This event created pretty much the haunt industry. It's like, tomorrow's not guaranteed. While you're here, let's have fun. And that's why I just show up. Okay, how's it going? And make sure I'm respectful. I bring snacks. I brought you guys candies.
Yeah, it was very nice.
Right?
We ate those candies all season.
And it was the coolest area. It was your sister. It was you, and it was Nicole. And like we sat in our little corner, and then Rachel was getting her makeup done by you, and me and her would stare at each other awkwardly just to see who would break. And those are the moments that 10, 15 years from now, when I can't do this anymore, or hell, more like 5 years, I'm gonna look back. I'm like, I worked this event,
right?
And that's what people don't realize. It's like, relish the moments. Be here for the here and now. And some people are there for the wrong reasons, for clout, for egotistical reasons, whatever. It is what it is. That's your prerogative. But if that's what you choose to be for, then okay, I understand, but I'm sorry. But it's something we do, for 7 weeks, for the public. But prior to that, a lot of people are processing. There's training, there's orientation, there's prep. Like, we start in August.
Right.
And by the time, week 6 comes around, I want to murder people because I'm like, I want to get out of here. I'm done. I could tell physically my body was done when makeup was being applied to the back of my neck. And this is not a spite. My body is just like, okay, we're over this. Like, physically, we're done. I'm like, it's week 6, Rick. Just tough it out. Get one more week. You're going to hibernate all holiday.
Yeah.
You're going to do fair. And then right around this time, May, June, you're going to get excited again.
Right. That's how it always goes. Everyone is so, like, I always tell everyone, you should take a video of yourself.
Yep.
Your first night of haunt. And talk to yourself. Like, this is for your future you. I'm so excited. I can't wait to do this. And then look at it the last night of haunt.
Everyone has that same look when they walk from the employee parking lot. And they're bringing their boxes, and everyone just has that zombie look, and they're tired, and they're comfy clothes with, like, hair in a bun or in a hat, and you're just like,
all the postures become slouches. Like, the first week, everyone's like standing up strong, like carrying the boxes. Their chests are up. They're walking. Like, the last couple of weeks, everyone's just like dragging.
Everyone's just like, I can't get out of here. I don't want to talk to anybody. That's me. It's just my back is like, no, you're done. My knees are like, you're done. I try to do. I did a couple of nights over at the Eulogy Collective for their Christmas haunt, and I was more like working the queue line. My body was done. I love Christmas horror, and plus myself and my best friend Jeff, we created these really expensive and elaborate, like, twisted elves. Like, masks alone was probably $500, $600, and that's not including costuming. My knees were done. Like, just getting in and out of a chair, my body's like, what are you doing? You should be recovering. So enjoy the times. Enjoy the time you're there, people. So
yeah, it's a super special thing that not everybody gets to do. And
exactly.
In the grand scheme of things, there are horrible things that happen in this world. The fact that we get to do something so joyful, or something that should be so joyful,
a break from the norm.
It's such a break from the norm. It's fantastic. Anyone who's interested in it, just realize,
just take the plunge. I was afraid to do it. I did it. You know what? And I have no regrets. Yes, it's hard on your body sometimes, and your loved ones. You got to make sure priorities you're taking care of first. But if you're interested, people, just do it. Just take the plunge. I've had people reach out to me like, hey, a couple of mace monsters. I was like, well, first of all, your job's harder than mine. Second of all, just, come up with something and audition, do this, that, and the other. Don't listen to anyone. Just do you. Have fun. So
absolutely.
Excuse me. So my next question. Southern California is basically the mecca for haunts. Why do you think this specific area has such a massive and dedicated haunt and attraction culture?
I think it might be a perfect storm of the entertainment industry.
Makes sense.
And the theme park industry all being in one place. You have a lot of creative people in this geographical area, many of which are involved in the entertainment industry and want to do stuff creatively outside of that. And you have a lot of people just in general in this area who watch, a lot of us have watched movies and stuff, and it creates this interest. I think it's just a melting pot of some some various interests that have kind of coalesced to create this. You have people who see, okay, Knott's does this one night, they'd have like somebody scaring people in a crowd, and then next thing it grows. Obviously, money is a big factor for these events. They want to get in on the market, but I think it all kind of just work together. We really are. You're right. It is the mecca of haunted attractions, really.
Do you feel it's a big component is we have, multiple parks within an hour of themselves? We have SeaWorld. There's events too. We have the Hayride. There's Horror Nights. Then there's Reign of Terror. There's Independent. There's Home Haunts. There's escape rooms. It just seems like within the metro area, there's so much going on. So do you think that's why? Not only because Scary Farm not started Halloween Haunt back in the 70s, but you think that's the reason why? Because we have so many different attractions you could attend in one weekend alone, or that month span. Do you think that's why?
I think it contributes to it. If we didn't have all of those theme parks, that is like all of the venues that become a haunted attraction. The theme parks are a big component of that. There are plenty of other pro and amateur haunts, obviously, in the area. But without those theme parks being so close, it would definitely be a different kind of landscape during the season, I think.
Definitely. I mean, if you really, really, really wanted to, and I've done it once where I think I went to the Flesh Yard, which doesn't exist anymore.
I remember that one.
Over in Anaheim, I believe. Didn't know it was one of those touchy-feely ones. I made a mistake.
I went one night. It wasn't my bag, but, that's okay.
I made a mistake. And then from there, you could go to an escape room. From there, you could go to Home Haunts.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I've done that a couple years ago.
Yeah, there was I used to do it with a group of friends. No worries. I used to do it with a couple of friends. Many friends. Do the Night of 1,000 Haunts is what we would call it.
Jeez.
And we would there's so many haunts. We would just create a map. There's a couple of websites that kind of list all of them out. And we would just start at one, pick a bunch we want, and we would go all the way out to Reign of Terror, and then circle back and go to all the ones in Burbank. There are some great home haunts. Yeah, there is.
There's some. I mean, I worked at Pirates Cave a couple years ago.
Yeah,
that was a blast. And Jacob Larson's over. He's a tech now at Knott's. But I think that's what it is. There's just so much going on in this area, and definitely the entertainment movie industry has an impact on it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if other states have that.
I don't think they do. I
mean, but other states, you have like Haunt Overload, which is out in the woods, and there's other places like, I forget, it's called, it's in Ohio, where it's literally an abandoned cement factory, and it's like 5 haunts in one under one roof.
Oh, that's cool.
There's in Connecticut, it's called Fright Haven. I believe it's the biggest haunt in Connecticut, and it's year round.
That's cool.
There's a lot of big haunts. I mean, that's their advantage. But then again, it's like here we have multiple options to work at.
We have so many.
We didn't even mention Queen Mary. Jeez, that's
Queen Mary. It's a big one, and they had a great year last year.
Yeah, they did. I'm not gonna lie. I would love to go back one season just to experience it again. I was there in 2019, so maybe when I get close to that retirement year, I'm like, hey, let's go over there for 1 year.
Yeah,
okay, I did it.
What I noticed is that everybody seemed to be having a really good time.
Yeah.
The talent seemed to be having fun.
It's a big party over there.
It was cool.
Yeah. Right on. Okay, Jerry, I think we're at a stopping point. We're going to take a quick break. Again, I'm here with Jerry Paxton, makeup artist extraordinaire and gaming nerd. This is episode 34. Wow. And we'll be right back.
You're listening to the CreepCast.
Don't you dare try to escape. The CreepCast with Rick Creeper shall return.
This episode of the CreepCast is brought to you by Haunted Whittier. I've known the owner, Jacob Caputo, for a couple of years now. We've actually worked together over at Knott's Scary Farm. And on top of that, I've actually done these tours. Myself being a veteran of the haunt industry, I can tell you this, the experience is very top-notch. Jacob's a total history buff, so when he takes you through these locations, he's giving you the real documented history along with the hauntings. Here's what to expect. Pio Pico's mansion, the eerie, real-life legacy of the last Mexican governor here in California. This one's pretty cool, actually. Historical ghost walks, explore the documented spirits, the dark side of Uptown Whittier. Museum flashlight tours, that sounds kind of spooky. A pitch-black journey through the Whittier Museum. Because he knows the history so well, these stories really resonate with you. You can follow them on Instagram at Haunted Whittier Tours or on Facebook at Haunted Whittier. And also head over to hauntedwhittier.com to grab your tickets and make sure you tell Jacob that Rick Creeper sent you. Hey guys, this is Rick Creeper 11 again. I just want to say thank you so much for being supportive of the podcast since its inception. Is that the word? Since 2019, for every episode when I was at Sinister Point, Dark Harbor, Midsummer Scream, and down at the Scary Farm. You're the reason why I do this. You're the reason why I put in the time, the effort, and the labor. Because if I could create something for you that's going to distract you for a minute or make your ride, enjoyable on the way to work or home, or just have you check out from all the BS that's going on in the world, it's all worthwhile. So thank you again to all the supporters. Thank you for the listeners out there. Thank you for all the fans, the guests at Scary Farm, everyone who's been involved somehow, indirectly or directly, everything I've done. You're the reason why I did it. And it feels good to be back. And yeah, man.
What does a mime look like when he's having sex anyway? Probably like, I'm a mime. I'm a mime.
Where do you think you're going? There is no escape from the CreepCast with Rick Creeper.
You're listening to the CreepCast.
Okay, everyone, we're back at it. Episode 34 with Alice Cooper apparently is here. Makeup artist Jerry Paxton.
Hi, Alice Paxton.
Alice, we're here with Alex Paxton. There we go. That's Jerry's cousin. Jerry left. So we're going to segue a little bit here. I would like to pivot over to your gaming space. What inspired you to start up GamingShogun.com, and what has been the most rewarding part of being the editor-in-chief over there?
Well, I would say, so it started in 2005.
Okay.
So I started the website as a very young software developer that wanted to just build a website, and I really liked video games ever since I was a kid. I played the original Fallout back in the 90s, the Wolfenstein 3D on floppy disk. I'd go to the computer shows in Pomona. Commander Keen on disc, like all that stuff. So I started this website in 2005, and it mainly just covered video game news, and it did pretty well to start with, and so I was able to apply to get credentials for E3 that year, which is a show I miss greatly, but it was fantastic. Got to go to E3, cover news, got to meet a bunch of industry people. I came back with a ton of free T-shirts, which was rad because I had all these cool video game shirts, which was really cool. And so I just kept it up. But the thing about it is that the video game space is so saturated, that GamingShogun.com no longer just covers video games. Okay. I think I need like 4 different URLs. I need like Halloween Shogun. I need all this stuff. So, Gaming Shogun kind of expanded to just be more geek entertainment. So there's a Halloween column, there's movies, there's event coverage, there's all sorts of different things, including just the basic daily gaming news and tech news.
Okay.
So as far as rewarding though, it's being a geek who's a real early adopter in a lot of stuff. I love all that stuff, and being able to actually not only see products before they launch and give reviews, but also go to these events and meet people and the social aspect. It's just been very rewarding on so many levels.
What are some of your earliest experiences or memories with like video games when you're, a young boy?
So my dad was a cop. My mom was a homemaker, and we were living on a cop's family salary, which wasn't the best. But when I was very little, my mom and dad took me to Circuit City.
Yikes.
And Circuit City had an Laser, Lazer, 128, Apple compatible desktop computer.
What year are we talking about?
Late 80s. So it just as a haunt story, and we'll get back to the gaming stuff. I more than once, probably like 4 times this past haunt season, one of the young talented monsters in my chair asked me, "So Jerry, what year how many haunts is this for you?" And I would say, "Oh, my first haunt was in 19." And as I was saying 19, like 19 was coming out of my mouth, I could see the expression on their face.
Their eyes lit up.
And they realized as I got to 1998, it was always like, "Wow," is what they would say. And sometimes I got the connotation that wow was like, "Oh, good for you. You've been doing this like you're established."
More of a shocked wow.
And then there was that other wow, which is like, "Man, you old."
It's funny because, I've only been in the industry since 2018. Again, my story is I started at age 42. I'm 50 now. And being amongst that cast in Boardwalk, I'm the second oldest cast member. And I'm like, wow, I have a pair of Doc Marten boots. It's probably older than some of the cast members. But it is a young person's game. I'm still passionate about it, but I'm like, man, I'm starting to feel like that, designated hitter who's a little long in the tooth and playing baseball still. Maybe it's time to retire soon. I mean, I still got a little gas in the tank. I'm not gonna lie, it probably ends soon, but I hear you. And
it's one of those things.
And I'm just like but then again, at the same time, like they kind of look up to you and respect you.
Yeah, you have a lot of experience in the haunt world. I mean,
being like an elder statesman and just like
life experience in general.
Yeah, and I think it's a combination of life and like just like haunt experience. So I had people come up to me again. This is only going to be, if I return this year, my 5th season down at the farm, and it'll be my 8th total. And so I guess I've earned that veteran status.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
assuming. I mean, I've had people come up to me, ask for advice, or just want an event, and I'll say, "Do you need me to listen, or do you want my opinion?"
Right.
You just need someone to vent to? Okay, cool. Or I'd go up to them, like, I did this every year. I did this every year for the last, I don't know how many years. I'd pull them on streets. Hey, come here. My horrible monster voice. And I would tell them, "Hey, you're doing a phenomenal job. This, that, and the other. I'm proud of you." And they'd get emotional sometimes. Or they'd come. I had a rookie in Goring my last year who was like second guessing everything. She second guessed everything. Yes, Lauren, I'm talking about you. And I just said, just go out there and do you. Figure out what works. Stop second. Just do it. Just go through the motions and figure it out. Once you figure out what's your niche, then rinse and repeat. She came back and not only thanked me, but she got Monster of the Year in her zone from Not Scary Farm.
That's rad.
So I'm like, you went from not knowing what to do, wanting to quit, to you got Monster
of the Year.
Your first year out in the street position.
That's amazing.
And then I keep in contact with her now. I think she ended up in the gauntlet now, but just maybe because we're older, we not only have life experience but more haunt experience as well, and then they look up to you. So
for sure.
But I get the whole like, when were you born, Rick? I'm like, let's just put it this way: my birthstone is made out of. My birth certificate's made out of stone.
Yeah,
put it that way. So.
Right. Yeah, it was pretty funny. But so as far as video gaming goes, it was, playing these games like Commander Keen, Wolfenstein 3D, going to the computer fair in Pomona with my buddy Chris, and we would buy these. It was always so funny. There were so many weird things for sale at the Pomona computer fair. The Scientologists were always there. They always had the little stress meter machines that they'd want you to like.
What's the book? Dianetics? What was it?
The Dianetics. They were selling Dianetics, and they had the little like stress meter where they had you hold on to this thing, and they would measure your stress, and they would ask you some questions. It was kind of a weird thing, but they were trying to get you to buy the book. They were selling these hand warmers that were reusable, and they had this electric kind of component where it was a gel, and then when you'd push this button, it like solidified the whole thing, and there was a chemical reaction which made heat. That guy was at every Pomona computer fair. There was the adult section in the back that was just weird. Like
that's not awkward.
So many weird things, but I got Commander Keen, I got Wolfenstein 3D, okay. I got all these great games, and then eventually I got a slightly better computer. I had a 46 SX25 without a math coprocessor because that was an extra thing you needed to run Falcon 3.0 that I wanted to play. And so, games like Fallout, the Baldur's Gate series, Planescape, Icewind Dale, the old Indiana Jones adventure games from LucasArts.
Were you strictly a PC gamer, or did you actually go to the physical arcades?
So I love the arcades, but I wasn't as much of an arcade person as I was on my PC.
Okay.
My sister was more of an NES person. We had an NES for a while. I played it as well, but I always was just better with a mouse and a keyboard.
Okay. My thing was I used to live in the city of Hudson Heights, which was a bike ride away from the Point Hills Mall where they filmed Back to the Future. Inside that mall, they had it was called Time Art Arcade, which was a chain. And it had that classic, you'd walk in, you hear that, quarters dropping from the change machine, and just, you hear games like Afterburner, which was a jet game. You heard Gauntlet, which was a button smasher, like 4-player. That was my experience.
That's cool.
So we, some of my friends, they had like Castle Wolfenstein or like Oregon Trail, which was ridiculous. And eventually, I had a love-hate relationship with the first NES. It's just love-hate, and then I bought the worst game ever, Mega Man, which I hate to this day. But then I became like a huge like Sega Genesis guy.
That was a great platform.
You just loved it. What, 16-bit? When they're oh my gosh, 16-bit.
Yeah.
And then they came out the Sega Saturn. And eventually, like when the first PlayStation came out, that was my thing up until recently, and I just kind of fell off of it. But my experience started with arcade games.
That's cool. I miss the arcade. We had Tilt in our mall.
Okay.
And then we had, because I was in Riverside, we had the Castle Amusement Park, and they had a really big arcade.
Huge, yeah.
And I remember playing this game, and I've never been able. It's like one of those things you remember from when you're little, and you try to look it up, but you can't remember enough of it. It was this motion platform game where you were a space fighter, and it was kind of taken off of like the Star Wars angle, but the graphics were like rudimentary 3D, and it had this giant Fresnel lens in front of you that made things look 3D.
Okay.
And the monitor was actually below, and then
it was projected on the mirror.
It was projected onto this mirror, and it was so cool. And it was not Xevious. It was I can't remember the name. I've gone to AI and I've like described it, and I haven't been able to find it. I don't know if I'm just making it up.
Right.
I feel like it was there, and I feel like I played it.
Yeah, my thing was the arcades and eventually the consoles. What the hell was I going to say? Yeah, that was my thing, arcade games. If we had space in our home here, myself and Krista, she's like, I want to buy the Moonwalker, Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. I loved that game when I was in high school. I mean, I played arcade games up until...
I still remember it's like the Aerosmith gun game, the Revolution X.
Yeah.
Moonwalker, Revolution X, they had some great soundtracks in those games. I remember the little animated 8-bit Michael doing the lean.
Yeah.
And that was cool.
And they actually had like a sound system attached to it, and people were like hang out around the game. That's where I grew up, like playing games like Golden Axe.
Oh yeah.
Which was fantasy game, and the Altered Beast. That was all Sega. And like, the X-Men, the Uncanny X-Men games. So what else?
X-Men Children of the Atom.
There
that
we
was
go.
a good one.
Or like shooter games from, I think it was Operational Wolf. That was a shooter game. That was my thing. And then eventually the consoles popped up, and I messed around with the Genesis and all that, and eventually upgraded to the first PlayStation where I think I discovered Diablo, which was a great game. That's another fantasy game. And then eventually got the 2, then 3. I think I had the 4, and then I don't know, just with the subscriptions and everything, I kind of faded away from it. But I've never been like a PC guy when it came to gaming.
Yeah, my favorite console of all time is the Sega Dreamcast.
Dreamcast was nice.
It's the one that I played the most.
Yeah.
I've had other consoles, but they mainly become like home entertainment system for movies and stuff like that. I'm rarely playing games on them. It's mostly been PC.
The only reason why I played 64 with my roommates over 27 years ago, we played GoldenEye.
Oh, yeah.
And we'd sit there and, oh gosh, it was these horrible, we're adults. We were in our early 20s. It was this horrible energy drink that had an alcohol called Spark.
I thought you were going to say Balls, BAWLZ, I think it was, Balls of Guarana.
It was horrible. It was called Spark, and it was like a carbonated, like, creamsicle drink with, like, vodka, and we drink that and play GoldenEye, and we just, get so pissed at each other. But I wasn't a big Nintendo guy. I really wasn't. So it was always like, I leaned over to Sega for some reason, and which eventually they own PlayStation, correct, Sega?
No, Sony.
Sony.
Sega was making hardware for a long time, and then through a lot of weird business stuff, they ended up getting out of that market. So they just make games now.
There was a brief stint where I did which was Atari, the TurboGrafx 16.
Oh, the TurboGrafx 16.
Remember that?
We never could afford it because it was a little pricier.
A little pricier. They had a cool game like Bonk's Adventure. That was like not necessarily their version of Mario, but that was like their marketing character. And then I think Splatterhouse, which looked like a rendition of Jason. And it was like a horror themed kind of game. Yeah.
They still make that game. That game still comes back every once in a while as like remastered editions and stuff like that.
That's hilarious. So you're more of a PC guy then?
Nowadays, especially. I mean, I don't mind. The thing about consoles these days, really, these consoles are just PCs.
Okay.
The porting of games from one console to another has become much more simplified now because they're using like unified code bases and stuff like that. Whereas before, a game was ported over to PC or was ported over to console, it was usually kind of janky. It's not so much the case anymore. So I don't I'm very curious to see where consoles are going, because I feel like it's just going to become homogenized in a lot of ways.
What are some of the current games that you're playing right now?
So I can't get enough of Baldur's Gate 3.
I've heard good
Can't
things
get
about
enough of it.
Yeah.
It is one of the best games ever made for a PC gamer, especially someone who likes those kinds of isometric, if you will. And it's not really isometric anymore, but I call it that because that's what I grew up with Fallout and stuff like that. The D&D influence is not one-to-one because they had to make some accommodations for their game engine.
Okay.
But it's close. It's real close. Baldur's Gate 3... Oh gosh, what else am I playing right now? I actually just started playing Fallout 2 again, just because I couldn't get enough of it. But BioShock was another fantastic game. Aliens Isolation, fantastic game.
I went down a rabbit hole with Skyrim, the Elder Scrolls.
Yeah,
it consumed me to a point like I would play multiple times, and I just felt not that I no longer had a interest in it, but I just felt like the subscriptions would turn me off.
Oh yeah, like the in terms of what part of the subscription service do you mean?
Like for example, with PlayStation, you would have to.
Oh, you like the game, like the actual, the ability to play on.
Like, hey, basis. If you want to get these games, you have to pay X amount of money.
Like Games Pass kind of.
Yeah, or hey, if you want to upgrade this game, like I was playing. Oh my gosh, it was a Lord of the Rings game. It was I forget which one it was, but I just totally dove deep into that one. But it's like, hey, in order to play in the next levels or move on, or
wow, they really went on a
or to get different skins. And I was just like, there was like a DC game I was playing for a while. You could create your own superhero. You had to like pay to play pretty much.
Yeah,
I mean, what happened back in the day? You put the game in the console and you play, and then that's what took me out personally.
Yeah, agreed. I think that's a real turnoff for games nowadays. There's something to be said about and it's an older paradigm, right? When we were growing up, you would buy the game, you would buy a cartridge, you would buy the discs. It's all digital now, so they can take games away from your Steam library under certain conditions in your EULA and stuff that you've agreed to with them. You don't necessarily own it anymore. You're more leasing it.
You're leasing it like a car.
Yeah. It's an interesting way of doing things, and especially for things like art, like in terms of movies, games. I think it's dangerous because if somebody doesn't like something, they could technically remove it from your Steam library, whereas back in the day we had physical media. Couldn't be taken away from you.
Couldn't be taken away from you.
Shudder has Joe Bob Briggs on The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs. They lose a license to a movie. Well, they can't have Joe Bob anymore presenting that movie because they've lost license to the movie. So they remove that whole thing from their library. So now you don't have that on their thing. Just as an example, just licensing issues can remove things from your library. It's dangerous.
Maybe that's where I lost interest. Who knows? Do you find that your eye for immersive haunts and haunt design influences the type of video games that you enjoy or you've reviewed?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when it comes to horror experience video games. Having a more not just being a guest at a haunt, but being part of the creative process behind it in some way, whether you're talent, whether you're an artist, whether you're a lighting designer, whatever, you have a different experience with that event. So a lot of that theatrical presentation works with video games too. And so I find myself judging horror video games a lot based on that kind of a criteria, because it is, they can choose what to show you and what not to show you. It is a magic trick. So that definitely influences how I enjoy horror video games, especially.
Well, what are some of the games you enjoy that are horror themed?
Recently I really enjoyed The Mortuary Assistant. They made a movie out of it on Shudder. I haven't seen the movie. I can't say if it's good or not, but the game itself is really well done.
What's the premise of the game?
So you become an assistant at a mortuary, as the title and you go through the the autopsy process, the embalming process. It's kind of clinical when you start. Creepy. Lighting is really atmospheric, but clinical. Slowly but surely, things start becoming not what they appear, and it becomes this supernatural horror game where you're tasked with exorcising evil spirits, if you will, that are attaching themselves to these people. And what I like about it is sort of procedurally generated outside of the main story. So things will be different every single time you play. And if you turn your lights down and you turn the sound up on that game, it is so well done. It is a jump scare fest. And it's the presentation is beautifully done. It's very immersive.
I dated a woman that worked in the industry. You know, dating her was scary. So a long time ago. So apparently you're a massive John Carpenter fan.
That is correct.
From his legendary films and his iconic synthwave soundtracks. Do you feel that Carpenter's aesthetic has influenced your creative work as far as in Haunt or even the gaming industry? Like you found inspo from like The Thing or from like horrible The Ghost of Mars, which I like, which is not his most, I guess, popular film. But do you feel like him as a whole has influenced you with Haunt and gaming, the gaming industry?
It amazes me how much John Carpenter's work has influenced me as a geek and as a haunter and as a gamer in general. He has done so many different kinds of movies, from Starman, which is a
with Jeff Bridges. That's right. I totally forgot about that. It's a
beautiful story. It is a drama. It is really well done. To Big Trouble in Little China, which I quote his movies on a daily basis. There is not a night. Or not, I don't say a night, but not a season where I will walk into the makeup room. I'll just be like, all right, everybody relax, I'm here. And it's a Jack Burton quote. It cracks me up. It's ridiculous, but I love it. And from a creativity standpoint, the people he's worked with, Rob Bottin on The Thing, his choices that he's made as a director, his work is weirdly enough about him. What I always find interesting is so many of his movies didn't do well when they came out. Then, 10 years later, they become these cult
classics. Yeah.
And I thought Ghosts of Mars might do that, but it doesn't seem to have.
I enjoy the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Which I actually used in our D&D campaign. Some of the scores.
Nice.
Yeah, there's some movies I'm kind of like, but then I love They Live.
Oh, it's such a good movie.
And Roddy Piper out there doing clotheslines on the cops and beating up on people, and he's supposed to be like the unofficial hero of that movie.
Yeah. But he's nothing. He's nada or nada, depending on how you pronounce it. He's nothing.
What would be your most influential, probably favorite Carpenter movie?
So it's hard to say because they're all so good in their own way. I would have to say that from an enjoyability standpoint, it's definitely Big Trouble in Little China.
Great movie.
From a haunt standpoint, I think, it's a toss-up between Halloween and The Thing because they're both very different. I love The Thing. I love the concepts that it plays with about trust and fear and paranoia.
Exactly.
I love Halloween in that it's mostly bloodless and it just works on... Halloween has a sense of seasonal joy in it, where it is very clearly Halloween. It's the holiday when you watch that, and even though it was made in the summertime and stuff, it just works. Gosh, it would be like trying to pick between my favorite cat. I don't know if I could do that.
I totally get it. So a little factoid about the 78 Halloween. I don't know if it still is, but it was the highest grossing horror B film, I believe, or it might be B film. I think that's it. And then another factoid about Big Trouble in Little China, the tank top that Kurt Russell wore, they had one tank. They didn't, for some reason, they didn't make duplicates, or they didn't go like a print shop. Hey, they had literally one which they had to laundry every day, and then apply any type of soot or smut to make it look so it was these that can match the next time they shot. And I was like, oh, okay. I think also for They Live, they originally pitched the idea of Kurt Russell playing that character.
That's interesting.
We didn't even talk about Escape from New York. I love Escape from New York. It's even the second one, which was horrible. It's so good,
but it's still so good. Like it just works.
So,
it just works.
So the scene where he has to play basketball in order to save his life, he actually was making those hoops with the eye patch, and it took him 21 takes for him to make those alley oops. So yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about his music, which we went in
Halloween. No, it was last Halloween.
Last October.
Halloween night.
Oh, it was Halloween night.
Halloween night.
What was the name of that venue we saw him perform?
Oh, it was right next to the Mayan It was
cool venue. The drive wasn't the greatest, but that was a nice venue.
I forget what it was. It's right there, kind of in that older part of LA, right next to the Mayan Theater.
Downtown LA, pretty much.
Yeah, and there was a teppanyaki place.
Oh, that place was so good.
Across the street.
I was
really
so
good.
hungry. That was the coolest venue. It was a little crowded, but that building was really, really old, and, it was very Art Deco. They kept the aesthetic. I've seen him perform.
I think it was at the Los Angeles Theater. I think is what they called it.
That's what they call it.
And it's the Los Angeles Theater. It's right next to the Mayan, and it's in downtown. Kind of. It's actually nothing during the normal year.
Yeah,
it was only for these kinds of events.
Got it. I seen him back in 2017 here in Anaheim at the. I don't even know what it's called now. It's the old Grove Theater next to Anaheim Stadium.
Oh, cool.
Which was called the Sun Theater years ago. I don't know what it's called now. It's like, but he performed there, and it's that I believe was one of the most sophisticated sound systems as far as a venue, next to the old Universal Amphitheater, which no longer exists, which is, they tore down to build the Harry Potter attraction. Right. So yeah, so huge Carpenter fan.
Yeah, I also really loved that he went to Midsummer Scream last year. I was finally able to get my Halloween poster signed by him.
Yeah.
I waited in line, and as I'm standing there, Erin, my wife, she's holding this poster, and she's like, Nick Castle's down the way. You could take this and get Nick Castle to sign your poster real quick. And I'm like, well, it's a Mondo poster. It's the original Halloween. It's like this limited print that they gave out at this Alamo Drafthouse screening. And I'm like, gosh, maybe I could. So she was waiting in line, and I took this huge poster over to Nick Castle. I paid for his autograph and stuff, took a picture. He was the nicest guy. He was super cool. Friendly. He signed it. Nick Castle, the shape. And then I went back in line. So I got John Carpenter and Nick Castle to sign my Halloween poster in the same event.
That is so cool. When the 2018 movie came out, which he had
I think he was like an executive producer on it. I don't know how much influence he had.
I think he was executive, but they did a limited release of the soundtrack on vinyl.
Oh, that's cool.
And excuse me, I believe some were kind of like a Halloween orange.
Cool.
Some were transparent, some were black. I think I got the one that was
that on TerrorVision Records?
I don't remember, but it showed up in the mail. I was working at Sinister Point Productions.
Nice.
And I was home, and I think I was off that day, or it was like a Saturday. I'm like, what came in the mail? And I opened it up, and I was like, artwork, and it was this cool vinyl. I've never played it, but yeah, as a kid, I discovered the Carpenter movies. I was terrified of Halloween, terrified to a point. Now I'm like, I have the Boogeyman tattooed on me, and it's an infatuation with that movie. Second one, I'm not the biggest fan. I appreciate it. I just don't like the storyline, how the Boogeyman and Jamie Lee Curtis's character, they're related. I'm like,
it was. I think it was unnecessary.
Yeah.
I like the idea that the Halloween series could have been an anthology.
Yeah.
Halloween 3 is fantastic.
Love it. Yeah, totally different.
I don't think Halloween 2 needed to be there. I think it was just simply a cash grab. Not that it was bad. There's enjoyable moments.
It was good.
But it just doesn't need to be.
So I have 2 out of the 3 masks from the third movie that have the Shamrock Studios little die-cast, I guess it'd be button or pin.
Yeah.
And these are masks that were printed years ago.
Oh, that's cool.
So I have a friend who has a third one. He's like, hey, call me, we'll talk business. I'm like, well, they're not replicas from Trick or Treat Studios recent. They're they were printed maybe sometime in the 80s.
The actual Don Post masks.
That's what I'm hoping.
That's
awesome. Someone looked at them. He's like, these are not new, right? And I got them at a sale, and I think this person didn't realize what they were selling, because I was looking at them. I'm like, these are Don Post masks, I think. And I was like, how much you want from? And he's like, oh, so these 2 for this. I'm like, you have the third one? They're like, no. I'm like, shoot.
Nah.
So the Carpenter has just always been the thing, and that's something my dad turned me on to, and I was way too young watching that movie. To this day, you watch it, it's a little dated, but the practical effects from that movie, the makeup and everything, it's
fantastic.
There's nothing else like that movie.
Yeah, and there are so many people who I think Childs is the thing at the end. I think McCready is. I think that they miss the point. The point is that you don't know. You can't the whole point of that movie is about trust and paranoia. Yep. It's not. I mean, it could have been anything. The Red Scare from the 50s. It could have been aliens. Parasites. It could have been anything. It doesn't matter. The whole point is
you don't know. I believe Carpenter left it like that. He didn't even tell the actors. There's the fandom theories where there's gasoline or kerosene in
in the bottle,
and Childs drinks it and it doesn't affect them, or something about the way their eyes looked. There's all this fandom. You don't know, so it's great movie. What Alrighty, just like the haunts, gaming media has changed a ton over the years. How do you keep up fresh and engaging with like, you know, how social media has dominated like the gaming world? Like, how do we keep up with media and like reviews?
It's so tough because I still write like written reviews on my website. But the trend is video reviews. The trend is social media reviews. It's tough. I feel like a dinosaur half the time because all these kids are on TikTok, and I don't really use TikTok very much. So it's not something I do because it just feels like it's such a short format thing. I don't feel like I can put a lot of good content out there.
I feel with social media, it's a bit saturated.
Yeah.
Yes, people want instant gratification. Now, with something that's that saturated, how much truth or like actual emotion is put into it?
Right. Like where's all that, you know, figure into a sea of content essentially.
With like a 30-second video. I'm not like, sometimes like there's misleading information about everything out there with social media.
Absolutely. You can't, it's really hard to, much like the thing, you really don't know who to trust.
Yeah, exactly. So how do we keep up with it then? I mean,
I wish there was a good answer for that. Like, I wish there was a good answer for that.
You're also the man behind Level Up Thrills, which covers theme parks. What made you want to step out of you're still in the makeup room, but what made you want to get involved in that world, reviewing like parks, the events? I'm assuming like you do the coasters as well. What made you want to do Level Up?
So I have Gaming Shogun. It has social media, and so in Gaming Shogun on that particular channel, I will often do theme park reviews and event reviews and stuff. But I realized that that's not really its focus. When somebody goes to their, you know, they see Gaming Shogun, they don't think theme parks.
Yeah.
So I created Level Up Thrills on Instagram to be kind of like the theme park kind of event focused outlet for that. So that's kind of the impetus. So it just allows me to do that content that I like, but in a format that's probably more like accessible. Okay. People will look for it, you know, as opposed to Gaming Shogun, which is strictly more like games essentially, I guess.
Okay, that makes sense. It's funny, you had a hayride video, I want to say from 2021 or 2022. I want to say, I have to look at the photo. But I've been going to hayride since, I say 2011. And then Krista's never been, so I took her. And then someone sent me a video from, I think you took when you were there.
Oh, nice.
And they're like, hey, you come on this video for a second. I'm like, I do? And I didn't know who you were at the time.
Yeah.
And you're panning the stage where Monty Rivola performs. And there's me and Krista hanging out, like just like waiting for him to perform. I'm like, oh, okay, I came out for a second, but what are the odds? It's like years later we become friends.
Yeah,
and I was like,
that's really fun. That's really funny.
I thought that was hilarious, but I was like, what's this website or this YouTube channel? I've never heard of this before. And I was like, then I kept popping up everywhere, and then I followed you, and then...
It's funny when I go places and when I say, oh, you know, Jerry Paxton, GamingShogun.com, they go, oh, yeah, I know you. And I'm like, oh, okay.
How do you know me? It's
how
like,
do you know that?
That's just funny. But yeah, proud of us like becoming friends or me sitting in your makeup chair. Like I came out in the video. I'm like, I know.
That's so cool. You're going to have to point that video. I'm going to have to look up for that video because that's really cool.
I think it's 21 or 22.
Yeah.
I forget what year it is. But then I'm like, I know this channel, this YouTube channel. I'm like, I know this dude from somewhere. And then I'm like, oh, I'm sitting in this chair now. Yeah. What are the odds? So it's like, so normally when you walk into like a theme park or a new attraction, what are the top 3 things you look for to give it like your stamp of approval when you do a review, your level up approval? Like what catches your eye? What do you normally look for?
I think, so one thing that I really like is immersion. Disney is very good about putting immersion into their rides, right? Like you go to the queue line for Indiana Jones and the Forbidden Temple, or the Temple of the Forbidden Eye.
Yeah.
I think the Forbidden Journey is Harry Potter, but the Temple of the Forbidden Eye. There were so many interactive elements in that queue line. Some don't work anymore. Like
really?
Yeah. So in one of the rooms in the queue line, there were all these spikes on the ceiling, and they had been like stopped up with like bricks, like, you know, little stones that Indy had like cleared the way. There was a post that was there in the queue line, and if you shook it enough, the entire ceiling started coming down on top of you with spikes that were growing from it, like you triggered a booby trap.
Okay.
This was breaking all the time, so much to where eventually they just removed the pillar, and so it doesn't exist anymore.
That ride's notorious for that.
There is another part in the queue where there's some people digging down in a well,
Okay.
and there's a rope where they're hanging onto it. And if you jingle it, they'll respond to
They're
you.
like, hey, they say
it.
something. They stop it. Yeah, I remember that.
There's so many cool things about immersing the audience or the guest in that world. So where you just don't look and see a scaffolding from backstage. Like,
Yeah.
everything is purposefully put where it is. I like that.
Yes.
A lot of other parks do not have that kind of attention to immersion. I went to this one park. I remember going to the MGM Grand Adventure Dome or whatever it was back in Vegas back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
They had this sci-fi, like Space Mountain inspired indoor roller coaster.
Okay.
Nothing was themed. Literally, it was just a roller coaster in the dark and everyone was taking tickets. There was nothing immersive about it.
Nothing that felt like you were in this world.
Yeah, they had some sci-fi soundtrack going, but nothing was made to make you feel like you were in the theme of the ride. It could have just been some other roller coaster. That's fine. But I really like immersive experiences like that. So where if you can make me forget that I'm at this park and that I'm in this experience for these 5-10 minutes, I think that whole time marks for me.
I think the queue line for the Mummy ride at Universal does that too.
I haven't been on that ride forever, but I remember so many different things in it. It's a great ride.
They used to have when they had mummies in the queue line years ago, and they also got you at the end. They scared you. I'm not gonna lie, I can't go on roller coasters like I used to. It's something about when you get older, your body's like, no. I think I could do Ghost Rider and Knott's and like the Pony Express. I refuse to do Hang Time. I've seen it. I heard people screaming coming off that ride when I'm backstage for Scary Farm.
Right.
What else? Accelerated the other? I cannot. No.
Have you ridden the Matterhorn recently?
No, but I heard people are
Don't do it. You're gonna throw your back out.
we did Space Mountain, myself and Krista. Last we went to Disney, and I've been on it a million times from childhood to adult. And the last couple, dips and whiplash left to right. It really messed me up. I'm like, I can't even do Space Mountain anymore. It's like, are you kidding me? It's just, I don't know what it is.
I will probably get invited to the grand opening of Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift.
Okay.
I have been thinking about this because I was just there at Universal for FanFest nights, and I did this thing there, and I've been watching it going on. It looks like it's really fun.
Yes.
I have this little bit of hesitation in the back of my brain that's like, do I really want to ride this? Is it going to mess me up? I haven't rode a roller coaster like that in forever.
Right.
I used to ride all the rides at Magic Mountain all the time.
Jeez.
Like, how am I going to fare? But I'm going to give it a shot and see what happens, so we'll see. But
I don't know what it is. I spoke to other people who are like, I can't do roller coasters anymore. I'm like, is it just we're older? They're like, that's probably what it is.
Might be. Like, there are so many memes about how when you're young, you're doing all this stuff, and then the meme is like the guy just gets out of bed, and then all of a sudden he's in the grave. That's it
me.
Feels like it. It feels like I just go to sleep and I hurt myself.
I literally got up this morning, and I think I spent 15 minutes just stretching just to start my day. I'm like, what is my hips? My hips have been a little tight lately, and I'm just like, okay, let's just stretch. The stretches I normally do when I go to the gym, I'm like, let's just do them this morning. Yes, enjoy it while you can, kids.
They have no idea. Like, I remember being much younger and thinking, oh yeah, this is great. This is just how it is. No, this is temporary.
No, this is temporary. You're like a used pickup truck. You have to warm up now. It's terrible. Oh my gosh.
I wish I had taken better care of my body earlier.
I feel like I did. Maybe this is why I made it to 50, but also there's some things I'm like, I wish I would have known this sooner. But for my age, I feel like I'm, I can lose a little weight here and there, but like I'm pretty active.
Yeah.
I try to work out, and God knows, I'm out there running around with people half my age at Han. I'm like, what am I doing?
You sent me your step count meter, and was it like 27 miles a night or something? That was insane.
It was like this ridiculous amount of steps. It's all, oh, you did 12 miles today. I'm like, it's only Thursday. Are you kidding me? I was like, I need to slow down. Just, I guess when you're passionate about it, you sacrifice. So you're definitely a veteran makeup artist. You're the gaming editor-in-chief, of course, and the theme park content curator. How do we manage everything without completely burning out? Like, how do you manage a day life in those three hats that you wear? And we're not even talking about D&D as well.
Yeah, I love D&D. D&D is fun. I would say that the key to it all is just taking one thing at a time and just keeping things in perspective. For me, that's the most important thing.
Okay.
Like people get stressed out at things that get thrown at them and whatnot. Like there's always, the grass is always greener. The drink is always tastier on the other side, whatever. But the idea is that at the end of the day, you're going to get through it. You just take it one thing at a time, no matter what happens, no matter how crazy it gets.
Okay. Good answer there.
Just like Hans, telling those newbies, they're always like, "How am I going to do it in 20 minutes?" You just do it.
You'll figure.
You're gonna stumble. Some of those makeups are gonna look awful. It's okay. You just keep going, and then just because tomorrow nights will look better.
Life doesn't offer you a to-go-to guide. Sometimes you just got to figure out and get your hands.
You just got to do it. Yeah,
I hear you.
And give yourself a little grace. I think that's the important thing. Realize that you're not perfect. You're going to make mistakes. It is what it is.
So for those that have been listening for a while, I've always wrap up the episode with a fantasy question for our guest. So for you, Jerry, I'm going to have two scenarios. So just imagine a literally time portal opens up here in my home. And you could jump back into any era of history, but here's the catch. You have to choose between your two biggest passions. I'm assuming they're your biggest passions. Either video games or makeup artistry. If you choose video games, what specific area of gaming are you stepping back into, and what are you playing and why? If we go makeup, what historical era of special effects are you choosing? Are we going old school live haunts, theatrical stage performance, or are we on a classic Hollywood set doing practical makeup, and why?
It's a good question.
Hard choice, I know. Sorry.
No, it's a fine question. I think that for me, it would most likely be the makeup side of things.
Okay.
And being able to be on the set of things like Dawn of the Dead, Halloween, The Thing, seeing some of how, just being part of that experience of making those classics.
Okay.
And that's not to say, we can't make new classics, going
True.
forward, but like they were such a big part of my upbringing that I would love to see how that sausage was made, essentially.
So will we go back to like classic Universal, maybe something more like...
I'd probably go late 70s, early 80s.
Any movie particular?
I'd say Halloween and Dawn of the Dead, because they were both like 78.
Okay.
Or I think, was Dawn of the Dead 78? Yeah, I think it was 77. No, I think it was 78.
You would have to have like feathered hair, maybe. Like Ralph Macchio hair.
I had a mullet at one point, and I had the mullet because of two people. I had a mullet in junior high and early high school because of Jack Burton in Big Trouble in Little China.
I think I had one in high school too, yeah.
And Martin Riggs, Mel Gibson, in Lethal Weapon.
The horrible hair.
It was awful. And I kept saying to my friend who was like, Jerry, you sure you want to go with that hair? I'm like, it's going to come back. Trust me.
It's going to come back.
Of all the things that have been cyclical and have come back, the mullet has never come back.
Never come back.
Never been cool. But
now I know mustaches have come back, which it is what it is. Okay, good choice. I totally appreciate it. Me personally, since I'm not a makeup artist, but if I want to be on set, I'd probably want to go back maybe to like, gosh, I don't know, some like maybe anything Vincent Price was on set for, because I was a huge fan as well. Like The Pit and the Pendulum, or like the House of Wax, or gosh, what else? Like Mask of the Red Death, or anything Universal Monsters, like classic. Who knows? Like The Wolfman, or just being on that set at backstage. So, alrighty, sir.
That was one thing about FanFest.
How was it, by the way?
So FanFest is fantastic.
Okay.
It's their second year of doing it. I had a great time last year.
Yeah.
This year, even better.
Even better.
The D&D immersive experience is great. Mm-hmm. The Xanathar puppet is made by the Henson Company, and
that thing was amazing in person.
Fantastic.
Yes.
But being able to go on the actual studio lot,
and
see the area where like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, Frankenstein came out, like
it's Little Europe, I think.
That little Europe area, like. I think one of the Wolfman movies, not the original Wolfman, but like the son of the Wolfman or something, was like there was so much history there. That was super cool.
They filmed some of Pirates of the Caribbean there.
That's cool.
I think when they went into Tortuga, which is the island while the pirates take it over, but they filmed some of that there as well. So
that's cool.
Alrighty, sir. Anything you like to plug?
I like. I'm on Instagram as Haunt Geek. That's my personal Instagram. You can also see Level Up Thrills, and I run GamingShogun.com.
Alrighty, sir. Thank you for coming on. I think we're done for the day.
Sounds good. It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. All right, guys. Take care. We'll see you soon.
You're listening to the CreepCast. You've once again barely escaped the clutches of the CreepCast with Rick Creeper. Next time, you may not be so lucky. To find out more about the CreepCast and Rick Creeper, follow Rick on Instagram at RickCreeper11. Until next time, be sure to keep that lantern light burning. You never know what could be lurking out there in the dark.